Nassau International Airport here in the Bahamas, and I'm going to fly up to Orlando International on JetBlue. Although it does look pretty quiet here, they do recommend you get to the airport 3 hours before your departure time, especially since this airport does have USA Customs pre-clearance, which means you get to go through customs here in your international destination. That way when you arrive into the US, you're treated as a domestic flight, which makes it super convenient, especially since we all know how annoying US Customs is when you arrive into the country. My aircraft for this short flight up to Orlando will be N571JB, an Airbus A320 that was originally delivered to JetBlue back in November 2003 and carries the name Blue Monday.
Customers checked in on JetBlue Airways Flight 240. We will be utilizing the air stairs today. So this will require you to ascend and descend stairs. Again, we will be using the air stairs today, which will require you to ascend and descend stairs. And by customers in boarding groups B as in blue and C as in captain. Again, boarding groups A, B, or C, welcome aboard.
Hello. Hi, how are you? I'm great, thank you.
My seat for the flight up to Orlando will be 2F, a window in the airline's EvenMore section.
JP, it's my absolute pleasure to be working with this really awesome crew. I have Laura in the front, Kayla in the middle, and Lizette in the back. Approximate flight time today is a quick hour, not even 54 minutes. 54 minutes to Orlando. You're on our plane named Blue Monday. And your safety is always our #1 priority, so appreciate a few minutes of your attention while we demonstrate the safety features of this plane. You can follow along with the safety information card in your...
There's plenty of space between your knees and the seat in front of you, as well as at your feet, and even more so considering there was nobody next to me, so I didn't have to put my bag under my seat. In the seat back pocket, there is a menu for the snacks and buy and board options that JetBlue has, as well as the safety card and a sick bag. One thing that JetBlue has on their seat back pockets, which I think is really cool, is this water bottle holder. That way you don't have to try and shove your water bottle into the flat seat back pocket. For those seated in JetBlue's EvenMore sections, they do offer what they call a welcome snack, and for this flight up to Orlando, it's a cookie. For those that have devices they need to charge, they do offer power outlets on board JetBlue, and they are located directly under your seat. On board this specific aircraft, you could tell this was one of the older IFE systems. Not necessarily the first one they had, but it's definitely older nonetheless, requiring quite a bit of force to click anything on the screen. They do offer plenty of movies and TV, although this is such a short flight, you won't get through much of anything anyways. Of course, they do have the moving map, which is an aviation enthusiast favorite, and although it does have the altitude and speed that you're at, it doesn't look like they loaded the destination or the route into the IFE systems, and it just says unknown for all of that. And the map itself does also work, but like I said, because the route is not loaded, it didn't really show the point where you were going. Starting back in January of 2025, those in the EvenMore section of JetBlue's aircraft now get complimentary alcoholic beverages, dedicated overhead bin space, along with premium snacks, which I guess that cookie qualifies as. With the alcoholic beverage limit for JetBlue passengers in EvenMore space being 3, because this was such a short flight, I decided to limit myself to 1, and I went with lemonade with tequila in it. JetBlue does offer a handful of brand name snacks to every single passenger on the plane, no matter where you're seated, and it's really nice to see the variety on board, even a short flight like this one. Given this was such a short flight, it wasn't very long before we started our descent into Orlando. Given the fact that when JetBlue was founded, they were an all-economy class airline that didn't offer extra legroom anywhere except in their exit row, and then they eventually switched to offer extra legroom, and then they switched to offer mid-class on transcontinental flights, and then they introduced the Europe flights, and then they just rebranded their extra legroom seats as EvenMore space, now including alcoholic beverages, premium snack, and dedicated overhead bin space. Given how much JetBlue has shifted and adjusted their business model and their seating on board their aircraft since they were founded, I have a feeling in the near future we're going to see something along the lines of a domestic first-class product from JetBlue. And that's not anything official, of course, because I don't work for JetBlue. That's just kind of my personal opinion, especially considering how much we've seen their seating arrangement change in the 25 years since they were founded.
to Orlando, where the local time is 3:12 p.m. For your safety, remain seated. Keep your carry-on items put away until the captain turns off the seatbelt sign. You have one opening overhead bins as items.
That was a nice short flight on JetBlue between Nassau and Orlando International. Because of the late aircraft and the ground boarding in Nassau, we did arrive about an hour and a half late, but that didn't really matter as I had a super long connection before my flight up to Syracuse. As just mentioned, I will be taking JetBlue up to Syracuse from Orlando, and that video will be out at some point in the future.